Now I know this is going to upset some of you right away, but I think Mora may have accidentally just eliminated the need to ever own a Garberg again, because they just introduced the Amberg. And as we're about to find out together, I was shocked to discover that this is better set up on multiple levels for what I need out of a fixed blade than what the Garberg brings to the table. And this is coming from someone who hasn't just unboxed it and sharing a tabletop with you. I'm out here in the Wyoming wilderness using it as one of my dedicated belt knives around camp, having used it in all sorts of different environments. We're going to unpack today what the capabilities are. Are there any limitations? How does it stack up to the iconic Garberg? And have they just accidentally shot themselves in the foot, or is it pure genius? So if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is Gideonstactical. We're going to dive on in and talk some blades. Now, I know I have some pretty controversial thoughts on full Tang overmolded knives versus partial Tang that we're going to get to in a second, but the first big difference between a Garberg or a KANSBOL and these new Ambergs is going to be the handle. And I got to tell you, this handle is way more what I prefer, because we have a hardened polymer core, but then a complete rubberized overmold. So it is extremely tactile and grippy and feels great to the touch. Imagine kind of like a cold steel SRK or Master Hunter. That is the tactile feel that you're going to get with this. So it gives, it's warm to the touch. In cold environments, you're not going to feel the tang obviously at all. When you grip it with gloves, it feels really good. And they did a great job giving us diamond texturing along the center core there, so you kind of feel it, but leaving the top and bottom completely untouched. So you don't have this weird pressure point where sometimes you can even get hot spots with rubberized overmolded knives. This doesn't have that. And then you have some jimping that's grooved into the rubber overmold. Now I know that the more Puko style handle that's on a KANSBOL or Garberg is definitely more bushcrafty. And if you're going to sit there for 2 hours around the campfire and do massive amounts of bushcraft and woodscraft and practice those skills, this is probably the better handle design. But I am first and foremost a hiker, backpacker, camper, utilitarian. Can I do some bushcraft? Yes. Is it fun to practice sometimes? Sure. But I do not do it on the level. Let's just put it this way. There are way more skilled people in that arena than me. And I prefer my knives to have a deep guard. It's nice that we have a lanyard hole and a little bit of a bird beak, but it's not ginormous. And this handle profile is way more what I'm going to gravitate to more. It's going to give me very secure lockup. I feel like I can pierce. I can really put a hard pressure for a utility cut, going through man-made material, things of that nature, but feels extremely comfortable. The profile of the Amberg handle is way more my preference than the profile of a Garberg or a KANSBOL. And then add to that that grippy tactile feel. I'm all for it, and this is the handle style I prefer. And for all those of you who love the Mora Bushcraft Black, I still prefer this handle as well, because it has a little bit better ergonomics and I don't have to fight that lower hump. That was always kind of an issue for me and why I didn't really use that knife. Now, when we look at overmolded handles on full Tang knives versus partial Tang knives, I know I have somewhat of a controversial stance, and we'll get to that in just a second. But you're probably curious on what this clamp might be for. Well, if you've been following the channel for any period of time, you know that the WorkSharp Professional Precision Adjust series has been my go-to when I am not in the field and I need to really dial in my edge, especially when I'm working with premium steels. Well, recently, WorkSharp sent over the upgraded V2 clamp for this sharpening system. And what it's designed to do is replace the standard clamp, but add rigidity and greater adjustability along with rock solid blade support. Now, what stood out to me right away is the aluminum and steel components and the wide range of adjustment and support, so that I can clamp the front and back end of an 8-inch blade and then be able to have a more consistent contact point throughout the entire sharpening process. And the clamps can handle thicker blades up to 1/4 of an inch, making it a lot easier to maintain the edge on a big old MagnaCut survival knife like this. But it's not just built for the big blades, and with the included bit, you can easily swap the dual clamps to be able to grab your smaller pocket knives. So if you're looking to upgrade your sharpening setup, I encourage you, check out the link popping up here. It's in the description box below as well, over to the Worksharp site, so you can not only see this clamp, but all the other sharpening systems that they bring to the table. And I appreciate them sponsoring this video and helping me keep my blade sharp week after week. So here's my hot take when it comes to full Tang construction on overmolded knives. Now, this is just my opinion. It's based off of over a decade of testing out hundreds and hundreds of fixed blades here on YouTube with you guys. In all those years, never have I ever seen a Tang break inside a handle. Now, I might have had a handle loosen up once or twice. Very rare that even that would happen on an overmold like this. I'm not talking about, you know, bolt-on handle scales. Those shift and sometimes move around and stuff. So I've had one or two maybe loosen up slightly, but never have it snap or break off and just be like pshing inside the handle in here. And so if we are looking at a sub 5-inch knife with an overmolded handle, to have it be full Tang all the way through and coming out the back for durability's sake is purely, in my opinion, performative. It's interesting, it's cool, doesn't make me trust the knife any more than I would trust something like this on the durability side. And it actually makes this knife a little bit heavier overall. Now, does it have like a scraping thing and, you know, a pommel here? Yes, it absolutely has that. But if you're looking for durability, and so for me, being a small knife, now if this was a 11-inch blade and I'm chopping and splitting 6-inch diameter logs, yeah, I mean, I'd probably want fully exposed all the way through and do all that. But for this size range of sub 5 inches or less, I'm not able to put these knives through the type of abuse that I would see the need for that. So then we just look here at the blades themselves, and we're looking at the same stock thickness. We're looking at the same blade length, just over 4 inches. They both have 90-degree spines. So I get all of those things. And if we are looking at the carbon version of the Amberg compared to the carbon version of the Garberg, the performance of either blade is going to be unrecognizable compared to each other in their wear resistance, in their durability, in their ability to carve, cut, make the most beautiful organic feather sticks you've ever seen, be able to notch, but still be able to be pounded on and split kindling the size of your wrist and break that down if needed, side split notches, do things like that. The handle is rock solid on this, and then the blade itself is performing identical to my carbon version of the Garberg. Now, that's me and my mileage, but leave a comment below and let me know if you agree or disagree with this hot take. Now, there is a big difference between the stainless version of the Amberg and the Garberg. The Garberg is using Sandvik 14C28N. It's a great steel. It has performed exceptionally well, not only on Moras, but on tons of other blades out there, and it is an excellent, well-rounded stainless steel. On the Amberg, they've opted for the more budget-friendly 12C27 steel. If you use your knife quite a bit, there's definitely an argument to be made that the stainless Garberg is still a better choice over the stainless Amberg. Now, you're gonna have to determine if the value is there with the upgraded handle, with the upgraded sheath we're about to get to. And that is a perfect segue to talk about value so that you can really have a good understanding, since I know I've been dogging on the Garberg especially a little bit. Now, I paid $58 for the carbon version of the Amberg. The stainless version is going to be $10 less at around $48. I bought it at Knife Center. I'll have links to not only to them and my affiliate program with them, but also Amazon, a lot of the other distributors, Blade HQ, places where you can pick these up. So if one of these models makes sense, always do appreciate it when you check out those hyperlinks provided below in the description box or when they pop up here in the corner of the screen. And the carbon and stainless versions of the Garberg are currently going for like around 100. So you can save $40 and, at least on the carbon side, get basically the exact same knife. You're just not getting that full Tang construction. And I would argue, in my personal opinion, better handle. And as we're about to find out, a better sheath. Now the sheath is a brand new design. And because of these eyelets right here, offers the ability to put molly locks or ulti clips on your Mora. and I feel like in many ways it's just a better fit for me than the KANSBOL and Garberg style of sheath. So the first aspect is that we get a deep cut in right around the guard and then a nice pronounced thumb ramp. What does that mean? That I can easily deploy it, not do any sort of walk up, and then I'm able to, because it grabs the sheath right around that polymer core, locks into place, it ain't coming out, got a little bit of slap, but it's solid. And though this sheath is more bushcrafty and low profile, I always found myself kind of fighting with these style of knives to get them out and then try and push them back in. The sheath has an ambidextrous core and then uses this sleeve, which can be slid on right or left carry for you to carry whichever orientation you want. And I do appreciate that Mora is definitely upping the game in their orientation options for not only this model, but many of their new designs. So that's super cool. Now, the one thing I did note is that it is secure when you lock it in there. So I slide it in this way, it's locked in. I basically have to pound it like on the workbench or a stump to get it to pop out and then be able to rotate. So it ain't coming out when you do that unless you give it a little bit of force. Now, along with that, it's going to come with a pass-through belt loop. So it's more secure on your belt. You can get a separate accessory kit that will give you the clip that's like on some of the old models if you prefer to clip it onto things like your pocket. So that's a trade-off. Now, it is easily removable with that simple pass-through. And then I think they even have like a leather loop now, or maybe you could even just do a leather loop yourself if you wanted to. Arguably, there's going to be some pass-throughs here that you could do different molly lashings, paracord, things like that. But here's what's really cool and what I realized, that these holes now allow me to put an ulti-clip if I wanted to right here. And because I can orientate it right or left, now I can put it in my pocket or attach to gear on the fly, or I can do a molly lock or blade tech lock and attach it through these holes as well, because there is enough space between the sleeve and the polymer core, which ultimately means, if you're gonna ask me, this is by far my favorite sheath that Mora has produced. So here's my hot take for everyone. If you've been eyeballing the KANSBOL, or you like the KANSBOL, but you've never been a fan of that weird grind, because I haven't, and you're liking what you see, the stainless version of the Amberg is a no-brainer. It's within like $5 to $10 of it, and better ergos, same steel, original Scandi grind, and better sheath. If you absolutely have to have stainless, but you want better wear resistance than what the 12C27 brings to the table, then stick with the original Garberg in Sandvik 14C28N. But if you like carbon steel, I would say in Mora's entire lineup right now, the Amberg in carbon is king. This is the GOAT of what Mora has on the market, in my opinion, giving the most value, the most performance, and giving us the most options, and in my opinion, the most versatile ergonomics because of the deeper guard, rubberized hand, all that stuff. So all of those things coming together, and I can tell you without a doubt, this is now going to become my most used Mora moving forward. And I am stoked. I mean, this is making the best blades of 2026 list. When we come to the end of the year, this is going to be on that list with several other blades because of the best execution, just the most well-rounded, in my opinion, that Mora currently has on the market, hands down, full stop. But that's just my opinion, and I want to know yours. So leave comments below, your thoughts, your take. Are you here for it? Or do you think the Amberg is one of the dumbest designs in recent memory? Appreciate you guys. Till next time, check out the other videos, subscribe, and always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared, and I'll see you out there.